Good morning and happy Monday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For those of you that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's here in the house, and then we'll get into this. Mr. Regilio, good to see you, man. Dom G, we got Andrew Masad, my man. Leo Lustig, good to see you. Black Hat Team, Steven Cicero. Let's see. K Hashaholic, I love that name, that's hysterical. Good to see you, buddy. Broskis, good morning. Albert, Daddy Chill, I think I already said that. 10 minutes to midnight. Everybody else that may have missed, I apologize. Let's get into it. All right, Bitcoin $68,380. I'm pretty positive we hit 69k this weekend.
Perfect.
That's amazing. Ethereum at $2,700. Hell yeah, I do can do Ethereum. That's sick. We got Solana, 166 bucks. XRP still at 55 cents. Let's see, ADA is at 36 cents. We got LTC's been doing pretty good. Actually pulled back 2%. It was at 75 bucks this weekend, but it is at 73 as of right now. Let's see, Caspa's at 13 cents, still kind of floating along. 13 cents, just kind of interesting. It went down to like 12, and then it's back up to 13. Guess we'll see what happens. I think it's I was looking at the charts earlier, and I think it's gearing up to have a nice push up, but I guess we'll have to see. Only time will tell. ETC 1984 over here, almost 20 bucks, looking pretty good. Dogecoin's been doing really well as well. 14.5 cents just about. A duke into Dogecoin. Probably has to do with Elon Musk and, you know, the whole pushing Trump and all that stuff, so pretty interesting. BNB 608 bucks. We got, let's see what else jumping out at me. Popcat over here up 7% on the day, $1.33. BitTensor is at 578 bucks. Not too bad. Nothing else really jumping out at me. Let's see. Oh, actually, you know what, I lied. This one, Ape, is up almost 25%, 24.5% to be exact. $1.71. Interesting. Let's jump over to Crypto Bubbles. That thing's probably killing it over there. Let's see. God damn, yep, that's the biggest earner of the day. According to Crypto Bubbles, we got 26 or 25.9% over here on Ape. This is Ape Coin. If anybody's into this, anybody own this, let me know in the chat. Interested to know. But yeah, Ape Coin, $1.71. Interesting. I don't have any of it. DYDX, another big earner on the day. This is up, let's see, 18.6% to $1.20. Nice. Atom over here, which is Cosmos, up 9.6% to $4.90. We got Popcat and Mew doing all right for the meme coins. Popcat's up 7.6% to $1.33, and Mew's up 9.3% to 9/10 of a penny, so almost a penny. Almost dropping a decimal on that one. Interesting. Immutable X is actually down on the day, 3.4%. I think this is the biggest loser of the day. Oh no, I lied. Arrow is, but this is Immutable X, $1.59. Aerodome Finance is the biggest loser of the day, 3.9% down at $1.25. Interesting. Jasmy is over here. Let's see, up 3.7% to almost 2 pennies. Nice. It's 1.9 to be exact. Caspa again up 2.1%. Yeah, that's really it. All right, flashbang Fear and Greed Index. Let's see what we got over here. 72 on the Fear and Greed Index. Yesterday it says it was 73. We've been floating right around the 70, between 70 and 75 range for the last couple days. I really want to see this come back down. I don't want to see it go over 75, but is what it is. I guess we're gonna have to see. All right, over here, top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko, starting with Bitcoin at a $1.3 trillion market cap. We got Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, USDC, XRP, Lido Staked Ether, Dogecoin, and Tron in 10th place at a $13.6 billion market cap. We have Toncoin in 11th place actually, and Cardano in 12th place at a $12.9 billion market cap. Cardano is actually getting pretty close to jumping back into the 11th and 10th place. Interesting. Cardano, I want to see what's happening there, or what's going to happen there. I guess they're doing a lot of stuff in the background. They're not really vocal with what they do, but apparently they're working on bigger and better things. Silver Days, what's up, man? Good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you. Let's see if you guys have any questions in the chat, please feel free to ask, or just at me if you could. Caspa still in 33rd place over here at a $3.2 billion market cap. We were at a 4.2 a couple months back, right? So I guess we're gonna have to see. We're down about $1 billion. Interesting. I'm wondering if the tier 1 exchange listing is coming sooner than later. I heard it's gonna be on Kraken, but I guess we're gonna have to see. We have to see what happens. I'm interested to know. All right, let's move on to the mining segment of things. I want to see what we're looking like over here for miners today. I haven't looked at anything. I was actually sick this weekend, so it was pretty shitty. All right, you guys know I can timestamp this stuff. We got Bitmain Antminer AL1 Pro 16.6 terahash unit over here making $34.66 a day. Bruh. That's getting really bad. 15.6 terahash unit over here making $32.56 a day. Let's check out a lithium real quick. How's the lithium looking? Oh, let's see. $1.21. $1.21. It was worse a couple days ago until like $1.16, $1.15. Yeah, $1.16 the other day, but now it's $1.21. Still down though, man. People are just trying to get profits back, and I understand, or take their profits, right? Get their money back for these machines. I understand. Definitely get it. So it is what it is. Don't break the bank buying these ASICs. That's all I can say. You guys need to be careful, right? Obviously, in hopes that everything rises in the altcoin season or in the bull run, right? For a lot of these coins, we're gonna have to. You're probably gonna have to wait until after Bitcoin does this thing, though. It's usually how it works. Over here, the AL3 rather, from Ice River, 15 terahash unit, making 31.01 a day. We got, let's see, the KS5 Pro 21 terahash unit is making $29.17 per day. I think they did Ice River take this off their site? They don't even sell the KS5 anymore. Let me know if that's true. I'm pretty sure that's true. Pretty sure that's true. Let's see. What are you sending me, Crypto KJ? What are you putting in the chat? What do you want me to look at here? What are we looking at? What are we looking at? What are you trying to show me? Average luck 24 hours, 94%. Let's see. Difficulty 1.14 exahash. Is that what you're showing me? Is that what you're showing me here? Let me know. Let me know. Let me see. Let me pull up the live chat again because I lost it. Block rewards. Oh, the block rewards. I didn't even look at them. Not bad. Block rewards. Reward 389. Oh, why? Weird. Why are they so high? Interesting. Why are the block rewards so high? 389. Interesting. 378, 204, 390, 389. KRC 20 stuff popping off again. Interesting. Well, thank you, Crypto KJ. I didn't know that. I'll have to look into that later. If anybody knows why, let me know. Interesting. All right, let's move on to the L9 over here. 17 gigahash unit making $24.44 a day. Look at that. It broke the $20 mark. Interesting. It was like under 20 bucks last week. And obviously in likes of Litecoin and Doge getting a slight pump. Dogecoin, I think, is like 85% of this machine. I think it's still the same. It's the same as the L7, if I'm not mistaken. That's where most of your profits come from, is Dogecoin, and Doge has been actually doing really well. We have the 16 gigahash unit making $23 a day. The KS5M over here, 15 terahash unit from Ice River, is making $18.08 a day. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll down to the L7. My L7 9050 over here. You guys know I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them if you're interested in hosting. Links in the description. Dude, 9050. This thing runs at 3,425 watts. This is a 3+ year old machine, and it's making $9.35 a day. Perfect. Dude, I love this machine. I absolutely love the L7. It's amazing. I wish I had a whole friggin' truckload of these. No joke. They're so friggin' awesome. And honestly, knock on wood, I haven't had any issues with this thing breaking down, and it's been running just straight out. It's crazy for the past like 2 years. It's awesome. All right, scrolling down, let's see. AL2 Lite over here, 2 terahash unit, 500 watts from Ice River, mining lithium, is making $4.05 a day. Ugh. Bruh. Bad. Getting bad. Getting real bad. Let's see, the AL Blocks 2 Plus, 1 terahash unit. You guys know I got this thing over in the solar trailer, actually. Yeah, it's making $1.48 a day. It's not that great. I wonder what they're still selling these things for. I don't even know. Let's see. Oh, gold shell quick. Let's see. Mailbox 3. Let's see. Let's shop. 2. Where's the 2 plus? Right, $1,600.
Stop the cap.
No. No. Gold shell. Why do you do this to me? I can't even, like, you can't even look at it and be like, hey, that might be a good idea. It's not at all. It's not making $1 a day on this thing that wants $1,600 for it. Just buy the lithium if you believe in it. That's insane. All right, I'm done looking at miners today. Nope, all done. Actually, no, I'm not done. I need to look at my S19K. I'm still solo mining Bitcoin Cash and I have hit nothing. But I want to see what we're losing today. Over here, if I was mining Bitcoin on this 120 terahash unit, I'd be making negative 56 cents a day. So could be worse. Could be mining Bitcoin Cash, you'd be getting nothing every day. So I guess I'm losing a lot more than just 56 cents. All right, looking at GPUs, let's see what do we got over here. Let me refresh this. Top GPU mineable coin seems to be a Leo, top of the charts. Like a little bit of Chlor over here on the 3090 Ti and the 3080 Ti and 3090. Interesting. We have the 6800 XT on Chlor as well. Everything else is a Leo. All the AMD cards are on Chlor for the most part. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I would just do Chlor or Leo. How's Chlor doing? Let's see. Actually, let's look at the Leo first, just because that's in first place. $2.02. I'm taking a real shit over the last month. Obviously, everybody just mining and selling, which I totally think you guys should do if you're trying to make money on this. Just sell it. Don't hold this shit. It's my opinion. But let's see. What was the other one? Chlor. Damn, Chlor's up 10%. 9.4% to be exact. 11 cents. 11.3. Chlor's doing pretty good. I don't even have a bag of Chlor, to be honest. I think I have a little bit, but not much, because I refuse to hold coins on shit wallets. I use Tangem. If anybody's interested in Tangem, links in the pinned comment. But yeah, that's by far my favorite crypto wallet, and I'm just done holding shit on desktops. I've had too many wallets get bombed by accident. It's not fun. 10 minutes to midnight, you're on Chlor. Nice, dude. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, they have a really good platform. They have a real good use case, so it is what it is. But all right, let's move on to the news. I want to see what this is all about. So this came out about 20 hours ago. Biden admin has set the crypto industry back at least a decade, expert warns. Let's see what this is all about. I haven't watched this yet, so hit that like button, guys. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's do it.
Welcome back. Crypto could play a big role in this year's election with the voting.
Real quick, Crypto KJ, thank you very much for the $2. And he said ramen noodles with horse meat. Do it the RPM way. That is disgusting. He would do that though. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat.
Block growing on both sides of the aisle. A new poll conducted by the Digital Chamber in partnership with X and Y finds 1 in 7 likely voters say crypto is a key issue for the 2024 election. Joining us now is the Digital Chamber founder and CEO, Perrianne Boring. Perrianne, great to see you.
Great to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell us about the crypto voting block and what you've learned.
I would love to introduce America to the crypto voter block, because I think most people have underestimated the power of crypto at the polls. We're releasing our national survey today, and we found that 1 in 7 active voters, not registered voters, these are the people most likely to show up to the polls, are saying that crypto will play a significant influence in who they are going to vote for at the polls, both for the president as well as for congressional seats.
I know a couple of months ago, President Trump spoke at the big crypto conference over the...
Patrick Murphy said 1 in 7. I find that hard to believe. That is kind of like, that's a lot. That is a lot.
Weekend. Do those people who are part of the people that you've surveyed, are they looking at policy changes from a President Trump or policy changes from a potential President Kamala Harris?
To be honest, I think the bar is so low at this point for what the industry feels like they need from its government. The past 4 years, we have set the industry back at least a decade here in the United States. We have had an extremely aggressive regulation by enforcement regime. You've had really a witch hunt, and it has driven crypto companies, investors and innovators outside of the United States. Businesses need regulatory clarity. They need regulatory certainty, and it really shouldn't be that difficult. Donald Trump has made a number of very comprehensive campaign promises to create a regulatory framework so the United States can lead in this space. We really have not seen anything meaningful from the Harris campaign, despite repeated pleas for that.
Mark, how do you see it?
Well, I mean, what we have seen from the Biden-Harris administration is that the bill that you were behind, the most crypto-friendly bill ever, they just vetoed, right? And now all of a sudden she's going to sidestep and pretend like maybe she's a fan of crypto. Look, one of the things that I mentioned during the break here, I don't know if this is true or not, but just to kind of put in perspective the potential size of this crypto voting bloc, somebody made a comment, there are more people in the U.S. that own crypto than dogs. And if that is true,
wow,
that's a pretty...
Is that true? Is that true?
Remarkable amount of people.
I'm having a hard time believing that.
The last comprehensive study was done in January of this year by Coinbase, and they said 52 million Americans own cryptocurrency today. And that was released in January. And of course, the spot Bitcoin ETFs launched a couple weeks after that. And we've had record inflows, billions of dollars of inflows into the ETF since. So I actually think that's a conservative measure.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? I actually believe it. With the ETFs, I believe it.
Right, Mark.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
That is.
Can you help us with the profile just real quick? Who's the profile? Who's buying crypto? Are they more conservative, more liberal? Do they trust government? Do they distrust government? What's the profile?
This is a nonpartisan thing, and that's really what we showed in our study, is that both Republicans and Democrats actually surveyed very, very similarly. So people all across the aisle are investors in cryptocurrency. I do think it is younger generations. 60% of crypto owners are Gen Z and millennials. And interestingly, 4 out of 10 Black Americans are very pro-crypto, and crypto will be a determining factor at the polls for Black Americans.
Well, that...
Why is it always a race thing? What about Asians? What about white people?
Bruh.
I don't understand it. How many Guatemalans? Yeah, exactly. Patrick Murphy, thank you. Thank you for having a sense of humor. Why? Why is that always brought up, though? Who gives a shit?
Poll found that voters believe former
so
President Trump has a more
stupid.
supportive crypto stance than Vice President Harris. He's leading by 8 points. You just mentioned it. Last month, he stopped by at the crypto bar Pubkey in New York City. He used Bitcoin to pay for his burgers, and his family recently launched their own crypto project. The Trump campaign received $5 million in crypto donations during the third quarter of fundraising. And in August, I sat down with Trump at his club in Bedminster, New Jersey. Here's what he said about crypto.
You have to understand about crypto. Crypto is a very interesting thing, very high level.
Patrick Murphy, I can't stop laughing about your stupid Guatemalan comment. Oh, I don't understand why it's always a race thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's so funny.
In certain ways, intellectually very high level. But if we don't do it, China's going to do it. So we might as well be at the forefront. And there are people in crypto that are very, very smart people who do love our country, and they think it's good. Who knows? Maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion, hand them a little crypto check, right? We'll hand them a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
But how do you want it to be more prominent?
See, like, you can't just do that, though. Like, I get what he's saying, but at the same, like, you can't, like, no, that's not going to happen.
In America, how will that work?
Oh, it's going to work easily. It's already prominent. It's moving along. It's very loosely regulated. That's one of the reasons it's moving along. But it is a different form of a currency, and it's going to end up benefiting the country already. I mean, if you look at the market, it's bigger than many countries.
So,
I mean, he's not wrong, but at the same time, like, could you imagine what would happen to the price of Bitcoin if that ever happened? If they ever sold to pay off their debt? Oh, my God.
And do you have clarity on what Trump wants to do with crypto and how he would use that in this economy?
Well, he's issued a number of he has a comprehensive policy proposal that he outlined during the Bitcoin conference earlier this year. Getting regulatory reform is really the most important because, again, the industry and the markets need regulatory clarity. Something new that he's recently said in your interview, your exclusive interview with him, he said maybe we'll pay off the $35 trillion in debt with cryptocurrency. He has not elaborated on what he means by that, but what I think it means is as you know, Bobby Kennedy has endorsed his campaign and teamed up with President Trump. Bobby Kennedy outlined a plan to buy 4 million Bitcoin for the U.S. government to buy 4 million U.S. Bitcoin and use that to pay off the debt.
Wow.
And now
So I'm assuming that they mean they're going to buy the Bitcoin, they're going to hold the Bitcoin until it pumps to a certain like point, and then they're gonna just dump it on everybody freaking pay off their debt. I mean, that makes sense. I get that, but that would, oh my God, that would just completely destroy the price.
Trump is now, it sounds like he's taking on Kennedy's proposal, which is why I believe the better Trump does in the polls and in the prediction markets, the more Bitcoin is soaring. And we're seeing that in the market significantly this week.
It's up to 66 and change again. Analysts at Bernstein Research say that Bitcoin is being driven by improving odds of a Trump election win. Crypto stocks, he said, forecasting a Trump victory. We were just looking at Polymarket, and it looks like the predictions have Trump in the lead. But what do you want to see in terms of the regulatory framework? I mean, what is it that's giving you pause in terms of the clarity?
Well, the issue businesses have in operating regulated crypto companies here in the United States is that fear of enforcement, particularly from Gary Gensler's Securities and Exchange Commission. We do not have regulatory clarity on which digital assets are under the SEC's jurisdiction. So companies have to guess. And if you guess wrong, they come after you with the full force of the United States government and the Department of Justice, which only very, very few companies have the funding to go up against lawsuits like that. And
I'm glad you just said that. That's so true.
The most important crypto companies in the United States are all in the middle of very, very complex litigation against the Securities and Exchange Commission. I think
if you guess and you guess wrong, you're getting slammed with everything they have.
Some very clear statutory definitions, which is what Congress is currently working on to clarify where the SEC's jurisdiction begins and ends, where the CFTC's jurisdiction begins and ends, how stable coins, which parameters they fit within the regulatory framework, and clarifying taxes would do a world of differences for businesses that want to build here in the United States.
Mark, this is one of the biggest issues that's stopping businesses from investing. A lack of clarity or too much regulation, or, by the way, investigations. We were talking yesterday on this program about this op-ed in the Journal. Everyone is under investigation. And strategist Dan Clifton listed 41 companies with a wide range of business and market caps that they have in common. And what they have in common is that the Justice Department is reportedly investigating them. That puts a freeze, whether it's a lack of clarity on crypto or investigations up the gazoo. This puts a freeze on business.
And Dan Clifton also, one of the other pieces of his research report is he mentioned that over 40% of the companies in the S&P 500 are under investigation by the DOJ, which is absolutely insane to really put that in perspective. And that is one of the reasons that big tech specifically, while that has normally performed well when the Democrat nominee is ahead, it's now become a Trump trade because Trump is viewed as anti-DOJ, and they're all under investigation, which is interesting.
He very famously said, cutting regulation is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So there you go. Perry Ann, great to have you this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Perry Ann Boring there. Stay with us.
Yes, her name is Perry Ann Boring, I guess. Crypto KJ, thanks for asking. All right, Anthony Pompliano, going to move on to the videos. How America went broke. Let's see what he's got to say over here on his channel. Guys, that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's do it.
They're spending on bureaucracy. There is nothing efficient about the government. You ever been to the DMV?
I have.
That's not efficient. You ever seen
the DMV is the worst. Has anybody seen Zootopia, the movie? I got 2 kids, so it's yeah, it's one of those movies you watch like 1,000 times. But the sloth in the RMV, it's like a group of sloths that run the DMV or the RMV, whatever you guys call it in your state. It is the most epic scene ever. It's such a riot. You guys look it up. It's so funny.
These organizations?
Not efficient.
Not efficient at all. You ever seen how many young, healthy, productive people depend on the U.S. government for prolonged periods of time? It's crazy.
In fiscal year 23, the federal government raked in a staggering $4.4 trillion, and it came from individual income taxes, Social Security and Medicare taxes, corporate income taxes, and other revenue. The remaining revenue comes from things like alcohol and tobacco, estate taxes. estate taxes. Sometimes I forget how to say a word. Customs duties.
So they brought in 4.4.
And even fees from national park.
Would they spend 6.4?
And they spent no, the net cost was 7.9 trillion.
Yeah, so it's even worse.
Yeah.
Broke. And the U.S. is like a broke boy. That's what they are. They spend more money than they take in. Broke.
Yeah, but they're spending on health care, accounting for 22% of the net cost.
No, they're spending on making
Medicaid.
the people dependent on them. That's what they're spending on. They're spending on bureaucracy. There is nothing efficient about the government. You ever been to the DMV?
I have.
That's not efficient.
Right.
You ever seen how many people work in some of these organizations?
Not efficient.
Not efficient at all. You ever seen how many young, healthy, productive people depend on the U.S. government for prolonged periods of time?
In last week's episode, we talked about how so many counties, what was it? Like 40, 50% are now dependent on the government.
It's crazy.
It used to be 1%.
Now, we got a healthcare crisis in this country. There's an immense amount of people. I think every single county in America now has at least 20% obesity. National crisis. Guess what happens? The people who are obese today are going to be the people who are future dependent on the government healthcare system. It's only going to get worse. So you can either try to solve the root cause or not? You want to stop healthcare spending in America in terms of not making it such a big drain because you got to support your citizens? Why don't you look at food regulation? Why don't you stop the food companies from putting all this poison in the food? That'd be a wild idea. Second, if you go and you look at how many people are getting benefits that shouldn't be getting the benefits, that'd be a wild idea. Again, we talk about the Leon Cooperman on CNBC saying, why am I getting a Social Security check? I'm a billionaire. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Big problem. What is the explosive, controversial thing to touch is all the entitlement programs. Social Security, Medicaid. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to actually continue to pay this to people? Well, your population is going to be older and bigger than you thought it was going to be. They're becoming more and more of a drain. Keep borrowing.
Yeah, Andrew Masad, you're not wrong. Amen. Stop poisoning us, dude. It's crazy. Have you guys seen like how different things are made up in Canada versus here? Like all the dyes they put in our foods just to make it look better and more appealing to us. It's insane. Jason Hamilton, obesity. I'm in shape. Round is a shape. Duh. Yeah, it's nuts. If you guys look up the food from, like, you look up Fruit Loops per se, right? From Canada to here, look how different they are. It's freaking insane. They taste delicious, but they like literally will kill you so much faster than stuff in Canada. It's crazy.
On all this debt, interest rate, or your interest payments is more than your national defense. You're shipping money to every war around the world except for the war that your people are fighting at home. There was people over the last 3 weeks in North Carolina who were literally lost in the woods. Imagine being within a mile of your home, but feel like you're on another planet. You got no power, you got no electricity, you got no cell phone service, you don't know if anyone's coming to get you. And you're literally in your hometown. That's what the experience of many people in North Carolina was last week. And I get that there's a lot of people saying, oh, you guys are, critiquing us unnecessarily. What I know is we wrote a check. I know a lot of friends who wrote checks. I know a lot of friends who went to North Carolina. I know a lot of people who I saw online who said, I'm from Georgia, I'm from Alabama, I'm from South Carolina. I got a helicopter. I'm going to come and I'm going to try to find people. Why is it that in a moment of dire need that our citizens needed help, that you have private citizens that are so compelled to step in because they're watching the government? Forget all the nonsense, all the speculation. Put all that aside. Let's say none of that's true. FEMA said, I'm going to give you $750. You know what $750 can buy you? For the average family in America, probably 2 weeks of food, maybe a little bit of gasoline. That's it.
There you go.
So what are those families going to do after 2 weeks? Where do you expect them to go? What do you expect them to be able to survive on? Instead, though, the average immigrant coming to America is getting debit cards, free cell phones, hotel rooms.
Not average immigrant.
I'm sorry, illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
If you look in New York City, you get more aid showing up to New York City and staying in a hotel than you did if your house got washed away in North Carolina. That is insane.
I don't know, that whole thing. We need to do an entire episode on FEMA because I have thoughts.
Ooh, if Polina wants to go down the rabbit hole. FEMA, let me tell you how this works. If Polina's got you in her crosshair, you're in trouble. Oh boy.
I got hot takes on FEMA. Anyway, I've always had.
Polina's got you in your I've seen this.
My hot take started, I think, with Hurricane Katrina, so it's been brewing for a while.
Oh, you mean where they left the people to die?
It's been brewing for a while.
I know people.
FEMA doesn't know I'm coming after them.
I know people who were in the National Guard who were sent down there with weapons to protect the stores because it was so bad, it was so dire that people were so in need that they were willing to do whatever they needed to be able to get food for their families.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I remember
one thing Americans will never do. I truly believe that's the one thing Americans will never do.
What?
Is American soldiers never turn their guns on their own people. And God forbid we ever got into fraction in the country. I truly believe that. Is that America in a very weird way
is still united?
The people are united. The politicians may not be. But when push comes to shove, the people realize it's the people versus those in power. And I think that the U.S. in particular is very unique in that standpoint. I think there's a lot of countries around the world, you could say us versus them, left versus right, one side, whatever. I think in the United States, you see it. You see how people react to certain situations. It's us versus them, but it's the people versus those in power, influence, etc. I hope that we never get to any situation like that. I think that will be good. But I do think that American soldiers would have a very hard time turning their weapons on their own countrymen. And I think that speaks to the spirit of America and how maybe how much people really buy into the ethos and the values of the country.
I love Anthony Pompliano. His channel is awesome, and him and his wife, shout out to both of them. If you guys aren't subbed to them, go check them out. He's got 573,000 subs. He's a amazing speaker. All right, let's jump over to Swan Bitcoin, the Infinite Money Glitch. This was posted 2 days ago. I haven't seen this yet, and I'm skipping the beginning because there's a bunch of music, and I'm probably gonna get whacked for it. Every time I watch one of this guy's videos, I get whacked for something stupid. So hopefully we don't get hit. Let's do it.
Welcome to Pure Bitcoin Signal. I'm Hurley, Director of Content at Swan. Now let's get into it. As mentioned in the intro, gold has rocketed to new all-time highs today once again, as the shiny metal continues its strong run in 2024, up 26% year to date.
Damn, it's $2,700 an ounce?
Bitcoin is also up today as it continues to bash on the door of the $68,000 resistance level. And as I said in my last video, once we close above the $68,000 level on the daily, watch out for some fireworks. Because as history shows, gold typically rallies first and Bitcoin follows, eventually overtaking it. Take a look at this chart showing their respective rallies in 2023 and 2024. What do you think happens next with Bitcoin? And just look at the Bitcoin chart right now. All you chart bros, have you ever seen anything so bullish in your life? We've been here before, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoiners have been trying to tell you that this similar setup happens every 4 years since the Genesis block in 2009. Take a look at this chart, which overlays the current Bitcoin price, represented in black at the bottom, with the historic price charts following the previous 3 Bitcoin halvings. Again, what do you think happens next? Even if we track with the diminishing returns of the last cycle in 2021, we're looking at a $300,000 to $400,000 Bitcoin. ETF inflows have been steadily increasing as well, reaching the strongest level since July. We also have whales accumulating at levels we have never seen before.
Holy shit.
For those that don't know, whales are extremely large holders of Bitcoin, typically in and above the thousands of coins. Entities like early adopters, institutional companies like MicroStrategy, and even nation states. They're all stacking at unprecedented levels right now. Again, what do you think happens next? And speaking of MicroStrategy, the latest Michael Saylor interview dropped yesterday, and it's a doozy. In it, he explains what exactly his company is up to with their Bitcoin strategy. It's always best to hear it from the horse's mouth, so roll the clip.
Really, MicroStrategy is pioneering a new market. We're issuing securities backed by digital capital, backed by Bitcoin, and then we're buying the Bitcoin back. So what that means is I could issue the bond in 1 week, buy the Bitcoin, capture the $300, $400, $500 million gain, announce it to the market. The stock would trade up. I could do another bond the next week. In the first quarter, we did an $800 million convertible bond. We bought Bitcoin, the market liked it. The very next week, we went back to the market, did a $600 million convertible bond, bought more Bitcoin. It was accretive, the market liked it. So what we do, we went back the next quarter, we did another $800 million bond, we bought Bitcoin, the market liked it. In the middle, we sold hundreds of millions of dollars of equity. And the next quarter, we sold more equity. We sold 1.1 billion of equity in Q3. We basically did that at a massive premium, so we captured a large BTC yield. We announced that, the market liked it, and then very next week we did a convertible bond. And that
I love that he wears Bitcoin shirts all the time.
Became a $1 billion convertible bond. And so what you see is we're running a very rapid investment cycle. We're developing a city in cyberspace. We call that city Bitcoin. So the real MicroStrategy business is to be the leading public issuer of securities in order to acquire Bitcoin. And as we acquire the Bitcoin, we're driving up the scarcity of the Bitcoin. We've now bought more than 1% of the Bitcoin.
And so far, this strategy is clearly working very well for them, as they've outperformed every single company in the S&P 500 in 2024.
Jesus.
Saylor was also asked about the increasing short interest in MicroStrategy stock, and he answered by basically saying, bring on the shorts.
But when I was a younger man, I would have been concerned about people shorting my stock. But now I'm not, because MicroStrategy is really just providing a set of institutional instruments that institutional investors can use to tailor a portfolio that's long, short, hedged. They can sell the volatility, they can arbitrage the volatility, they can arbitrage any instrument against any other instrument, they can generate yield, they can buy insurance. Some of those people that are short, they'll short $1 billion of MicroStrategy and they'll buy $1 billion of Bitcoin. And so if we didn't exist, then billions and billions of dollars of capital from the traditional finance markets wouldn't be invested in Bitcoin because they can't buy or hold the underlying crypto asset. They can only buy securities or bonds or options or other instruments. So we become an institutional gateway for crypto exposure by all types of investors. And my real aspiration now is, if you really hate Bitcoin, I want you to love us. Like, we're the perfect instrument to short. Right? Because I promise you I won't sell it.
So Bill Gates, I know you said a couple years ago you'd short Bitcoin if there was an easy way to do it. Now there is. So put your money where your mouth is. Saylor also gets into a pretty original analogy where he compares MicroStrategy to an oil refinery, and that it's a refinery for crude capital. And he gets into why the company is totally unique and no other company can catch them in their Bitcoin strategy.
You know, Standard Oil created the oil business. So I give you a petrochemical refinery and think about what goes in one side. It's crude oil. What comes out the other side? Gasoline. Why do you put gasoline in the car? Because that's the only thing that works. Kerosene. What do you put that in? Jets. That's jet fuel, right? What? Propylene. You know,
bitumen
benzene?
goes in paint. Another
Right.
product that comes out
All of those
And Vaseline for when you get
chemical products come out this side. The refinery does a lot of work, and in comes crude oil. So think of MicroStrategy as we
We've all
take in
been there.
crude capital. There's no doubt it's the best performing asset in 15 years. It's theoretically the best form of capital is digital capital. It's just scary to a lot of people. It's too volatile. It's too difficult to manage. So they want someone that can, you know, domesticate it, step it down, package it in safe components, and then connect it into the fixed income market, the high yield market, the convert market, and the public equity markets. And MicroStrategy, we just inadvertently backed into that, because to do what we did, you have to start with a very small company, $1 billion company, and then we become a $40 billion company, and now we're 150% Bitcoin. So if you take another $1 billion company and do what we're doing, you can't catch us, because at this point we can grow $5-10 billion a year in capital or faster. You can't catch us if you start with the same thing. But if you take a big company like Google or Meta or Microsoft or Apple, and they bought 50 billion of Bitcoin, well, that would be good for Bitcoin, and that would be good for their shareholders. And if Apple did it a lot, they might add $1 trillion to their market cap. But it would be $1 trillion on top of $3 trillion. So at the end of the day, Apple would be an enterprise, 25% Bitcoin, 75% Apple. MicroStrategy is an enterprise, 150% Bitcoin. So how do you create a company which is 150% Bitcoin that can sell billions of dollars of fixed income instruments or billions of equity into the market with a permanent capital base that's going to oscillate, it's going to vibrate with the frequency of Bitcoin, right? That is, I'd love to say we had the idea 4 years ago and that's what we're trying to do. No, we just kind of stumbled onto just a really great business.
Then
that's crazy. Panda in the chat said, I cannot go through another bear market. He said I will die. Yeah. Do you guys think we're going to see a bear market like we have the last 2 cycles? I think the one we just went through, or the one we are just getting out of, has been the worst one, like overall. What do you guys think? Let me know. I wonder if it's going to be as bad next time. I hope it's not, but at the same time, like, it's nice to be able to buy the dips as long as you can get out on top. You know what I mean?
Taylor was questioned about what is often referred to online as the infinite money glitch.
This whole conversion, financial engineering type strategy is often referred to online as the infinite money glitch.
See, the misnomer there is it's not a money glitch. It is a digital transformation of the capital markets. When you have a system that moves from a higher energy state, a more disordered state, to a lower energy state, lots of energy gets given off. Think of steam becoming water. Like, is it a money glitch? It's just steam becoming water and it condenses. So if you look at the capital markets, you've got $800-900 trillion of wealth in the capital market. You've got people invested in all these heterogeneous assets. Of the $900 trillion in capital in the global capital markets, half of it is just long-term store of value, long-term capital. That is pure capital. People with money just want to keep their money. Rich just want to stay rich. That $450 trillion is invested in buildings that are rusting. It's invested in cars, it's invested in fleets, it's invested in things that suffer from 20th century risk factors. So you've got that, 450 trillion on one side, and then you've got 1 trillion digital capital. It's like, well, I had a building, I get rid of all the things that make the building a problem, and I make it an invisible, immortal, indestructible, teleportable digital building.
That'd be cool.
Okay? Well, that's what Bitcoin is. So this thing that people think of as a glitch, it's not that, it's energy flowing from a steam state, from highly disordered, inefficient, bouncing into each other, into a more ordered state. That's basically the free market. It's capital flows to where it's treated the best. And so if I have capital, you know, in Argentina, I would put it in the US. And if I have capital in the dollar, let's take the dollar. 100 years ago in Miami Beach, an acre of land on the waterfront cost $10,000. Today, $10 million. The dollar lost 99.9% of its value against real estate, waterfront property in Florida. Okay, is that a glitch? Right? And the peso lost 99.9% of its value against the dollar in 20 years. Is that a glitch? That's really just capital flowing from a weak asset to a middling asset to a stronger asset And Bitcoin's advance is capital flowing from 20th century analog assets, financial and physical assets, to the 21st century digital economy.
I just love his explanation there. Bitcoin isn't a glitch. It's simply the massive amount of global analog capital flowing into a much stronger global digital asset. And to better understand the total addressable market that Bitcoin is poised to swallow up, take a look at this graph from Jan 3, which shows the available capital in the world represented by that huge green inverted triangle on top, and the tiny black upright triangle in the middle representing the remaining available Bitcoin. In theory, all of that capital has to squeeze into that tiny black triangle if Bitcoin is to win as the apex money. And this is exactly why what MicroStrategy is doing seems like a glitch. It's not a glitch. As Saylor says, they have simply just stumbled on a business model that makes them a vehicle for capturing that capital and funneling it into the digital transformation that Bitcoin represents. So regardless of your thoughts on MicroStrategy, one thing is for sure, it's extremely good for Bitcoin, just like the ETFs are. Because again, as Saylor says,
if you look at where all the money is, 99.9% of the money is actually in the traditional economy. And in the war for the future of money, the war is going to be won with money.
I just love how Joe Burnett frames it in this post on X. He's taking the amount the US federal government borrowed just last week, but priced in Bitcoin at today's value. Just last week, the United States federal government borrowed another 7.7 million Bitcoin. This is not sustainable. It seems inevitable that the price of Bitcoin in USD will increase massively given there are only 21 million coins. So if you take Saylor's musings on the flow of capital going from weaker assets to the strongest in the world, it's plain to see that Bitcoin is extremely undervalued here. I hear a lot of new Bitcoiners obsessing about their entry price, waiting for that perfect dip that just never seems to materialize. I get it. I was there when I was new too. The fact is, getting in at 69K or 59K is going to be meaningless when you account for how high this thing can go. You need to get out of the trader mindset and think of this as a long-term hold.
Exactly. That's most people's problem. They don't think of it as a long-term hold. They think of it as I want to make money now. I want to get rich quick. If you're going to invest into Bitcoin, the best thing to do is DCA in. Like, take a chunk of money and don't buy in all at once. Buy in little by little. And it doesn't matter what the price is. It's going to go up over time. Just be patient. You know? Slow and steady wins the race. Like that tortoise and the hare story, right? Back in the day. All right. Like Larry Fink and Michael Saylor, another massive Bitcoin whale revealed. Let's see what the F he's talking about over here on Altcoin Daily. Let's do it.
Another very powerful global financial leader has finally revealed his massive Bitcoin stack. We first saw this with Michael Saylor.
And I have said before, and I would repeat it again, if it's not going to zero, it's going to 1 million.
He laid the playbook for implementing a massive corporate Bitcoin strategy.
Well, there's a lot of strategies. You can be the normie and do a normal strategy, diversified portfolio. You can be a 10%er, and you can put 10% of your assets into Bitcoin. You can be a BTC maxi and put 80% of your assets and put 80% of your earnings into Bitcoin. You could be a double maxi, and that's when you basically take an extra $250,000 loan against the house. And then the triple maxi is you finance the house for Bitcoin, you buy Bitcoin, you flip all your assets to Bitcoin, and then you move to a cheap tax jurisdiction where you actually can avoid some taxes and invest an extra 50 grand in Bitcoin, maybe a Singapore or UAE or something. Well, this is the result. The normie ends up with $8 million in 21 years. The 10%er will more than double that. The maxi ends up with 100 million. The double maxi 150, the triple maxi 214 million. You can see the power of leverage, and the choice is yours. And you can also see it takes 15.9 Bitcoin to be a triple maxi. 6.25 Bitcoin will make you a wealthy person.
Public companies after were quick to follow, Tesla, Metaplanet, and looking back, as Bitcoin is consolidating right now near all-time highs, Michael Saylor has been proven right.
It's been a great journey. Since August 10th of 2020, MicroStrategy's bought about $8.3 billion worth of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up 44% a year on average since then. The S&P is up 12%. And since we levered it, we're up 825%. The number one performing stock in the S&P is NVIDIA, up 820.
And that was 55,000 Bitcoin. It's at 68 right now.
21% as of Friday. So we beat every single company in the S&P index using Bitcoin strategy.
Then we saw Larry Fink and BlackRock get involved. Well, once Larry Fink was a skeptic.
Don't your clients want crypto exposure?
No, I don't believe any client has sought out crypto exposure.
Really?
Yes.
Idiot.
But at some point they might. Do you need to be prepared?
I don't, at the moment, no. I have not heard from any one client they're looking to buy a cryptocurrency at this time. Right now, I can tell you worldwide, I have not heard from one client who said, I need to be in this.
Today, BlackRock is one of the largest holders of Bitcoin with the most popular Bitcoin ETF and has a crypto strategy for decades to come.
As you know, I was a skeptic.
Yes.
I was a proud skeptic. And
He's like, but now I see dollars.
Studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I see value in having an Ethereum ETF. These are just stepping stones towards tokenization. I really do believe this is where we're going to be going.
It has now been revealed that Jan van Eck, the CEO of Van Eck, has a massive personal Bitcoin holding. Listen very carefully as he's about to disclose this, how much Bitcoin, what percentage of Bitcoin he personally holds. I can't believe the number was so big.
This crowd might not like this, but the way I look about Bitcoin is it's sort of like evolving and growing up, right? So maybe it's a teenager now. It's not fully formed because so many investor classes haven't really joined. The toughest allocation question I have, and I know a lot of individuals think about this as well, is why should I be selling Bitcoin? If I believe the super bull case, you know, why am I constantly selling into this bull market? I mean, we just came out with research that talked about a price close to $3 million a coin in the scenario where it's adopted as a reserve asset globally. Now, that's very speculative, and that would be extreme adoption, but that's where professional investors like us in our day jobs say, oh no, you've got to do mean variance optimization, you can't hold too much. And everyone I meet at Bitcoin conferences owns way more in their own portfolio. And I always say, wait a minute, I always want to tell people what I'm doing personally because they should know, right?
But what are you doing personally?
I'm like way over 30%.
Okay. Wow. All right.
And it makes sense. Van Eck, his financial management company, they study Bitcoin extensively. They have ran the numbers. They see what's going on. This is what the future likely holds for Bitcoin, at least according to Van Eck research.
About a year ago, I started pounding the table because eventually the Fed is going to start easing here. That's great for gold and that's for Bitcoin. What I said is Bitcoin is growing up and will be eventually half the total market cap of gold. So that's about 350,000. So quite a ways to go from here. The super bulls, if central banks adopted and...
He's saying price per coin, 350,000? Is that what he's talking about?
You know, it's part of the monetary system, then, you know, in the millions, but I don't like to talk about that too much.
What, more than 2 million? More than 3?
Yeah, like 2.9, we've got some model, which is, you have to look at the assumptions.
Right, well, yeah, there are always big ifs there. Where are you as an ETF guy with all kinds of different ETFs, everything from fixed income to, you know, who knows, staples, consumer cyclicals, et cetera.
Yeah.
Where do you put your personal money right now?
I like longer term trends because I feel like, okay, it'll be a bumpy ride, but I like to have conviction about something that's going to happen in 5 or 10 years. To me, there's no doubt that Bitcoin is becoming adopted the way gold is. I just think it's obvious. Now, I think you have to have your own diversified portfolio, and kind of having a huge overweight to Bitcoin is a personal decision, but I just see that rising.
And we know that these Bitcoin ETFs, which are at all-time high net inflows, by the way, the most successful ETFs ever in Wall Street history, we know, or we strongly suspect, that each year will suck in more and more Bitcoin. I sat down with Matt Hogan, CIO of Bitwise, and he basically lays out the next few years for these Bitcoin ETFs.
The thing that crypto should realize about ETFs is...
My question is, where are we on this ETF total adoption process? Because so earlier in this year, they were turned on for the first time. Finally, Wall Street could get in a regulated, known financial instrument. A couple of months ago, I believe we saw the first wirehouse, was it Morgan Stanley, approved solicited sales. So finally they can start reaching out to their clients, say, buy Bitcoin through us. Are these ETFs fully adopted yet, or where are we in this process?
Yeah, not even close. I mean, you have it exactly right. From one perspective, these are the most successful ETF launches of all time, attracted $1 billion investment, already turned on at Morgan Stanley, which is faster than usually happens for ETFs. But it's still the case that most investors, believe it or not, most large institutional investors can't access these ETFs. It's a limited approval at Morgan Stanley. The other major wirehouses like UBS and Wells Fargo haven't even turned on these ETFs in a limited sense. Before I came to Bitwise 6.5 years ago, I was the CEO of ETF.com. So this is my neck of the woods. The thing that crypto should realize about ETFs is they are multi-year stories. If you look back at the gold ETF, which when it launched was the most successful ETF launch of all time, year 2 had more flows than year 1, year 3 more than year 2, year 4 more than year 3 for 8 straight years. I actually think the same thing is going to happen for Bitcoin ETFs. Yes, this was a record year, the most successful ETF launch of all time. Maybe we'll get $20+ billion of assets into these ETFs in year 1. That's amazing. I bet you year 2 is bigger, and I bet you year 3 is bigger. ETFs are a 5 to 10 year journey to maturity, so we're still really at the earliest stage.
So I don't know if you...
It's a good point. I think you should probably self-custody it and not get the ETF, but I mean, you could play both, right? If you're going to hold some and buy the ETF, why not have both, you know? Panda said, when the top people start saying they are buying Bitcoin, they are influencing retail to buy and getting ready to dump on them. You/we are exit liquidity Yeah, you're not wrong.
You realize this?
You're not
But
wrong.
all over the world, Bitcoin is being adopted. Bitcoin in 2024 is so different than Bitcoin in 2021. We show you stuff like this all the time on our channel. Nobody else shares crypto content with you like we do. Make sure you subscribe for daily content giving you an edge. Another nation state has adopted Bitcoin. Did you know Bhutan is now the 4th largest nation state holding Bitcoin? They're ramping up their Bitcoin mining in such a huge way. I bet you did not realize this is what's going on the other side of the world.
Now moving to Asia.
I've never even heard of Bhutan.
Bhutan, the Himalayan kingdom known for prioritizing happiness over wealth, has quietly emerged as a major player in the cryptocurrency world. With $780 million worth of Bitcoin, which is nearly a third of its GDP, Bhutan has become the 4th largest government holder of Bitcoin. Now, what's fueling the country's ambitions to become a leader in green crypto mining? Here's our report with answers.
Huh. I have never heard of this place ever.
Nestled in the Himalayas, Bhutan, a tiny Buddhist kingdom with fewer than 900,000 people, has emerged as an unexpected yet powerful player in the world of cryptocurrency. Known for its serene landscapes, happiness-centric philosophy, and commitment to sustainability, Bhutan has quietly amassed a...
Is that you, Panda?
...significant treasure. Over 13,000 Bitcoin, worth approximately $780 million.
This last squash beat me to it.
dollars. For a country with a GDP of just under $3 billion, this is a staggering sum, making Bhutan the 4th largest government holder of Bitcoin globally. The Himalayan kingdom is only behind the United States, China, and the United Kingdom as it overtook El Salvador, Ukraine, and Germany.
Damn, I've never even heard of this place.
Unlike the United States and China, which gained their cryptocurrency through seizures and legal battles, Bhutan took a more proactive approach by investing directly in Bitcoin mining. Bhutan's decision to mine Bitcoin rather than purchase it directly aligns with its broader strategy to diversify revenue streams. The country's Bitcoin mining activities have been fueled by its abundant hydropower resources, making Bhutan one of the most eco-friendly crypto miners in the world.
Damn.
Subscribe to our channel.
Look at, do you imagine having some sort of hydropower like that? That freaking dam. Dude, you can get these crazy ass pumps on like Amazon for hydropower, and they put out a shit ton. That must be killing it. Man, insane. All right. Recap segment of things. You guys know I got to get back to daddy duty. Anybody just joining, appreciate you for hanging out. Let's see what we got. Bitcoin 68,000 as of right now. 68,258. We got Ethereum at $2,700. BNB's at $609. We got Solana at $166. Perfect. ADA is at 36 cents. We get XRP at 55 cents. If anybody cares. Near Protocol is just under $5 at $4.90. We have Caspa at 13 cents. Just been kind of chugging along sideways. LTC is taking a little bit of a hit today, 3.77% down, $72, even though it's still looking really good. ETC is at almost $20, 19.84 to be exact. Atom over here is up 9.06% up on the day, to $4.90. We have, let's see, Uniswap is at $7.63, up 162 on the day. We got Dogecoin doing pretty good, up 1%. It actually is, it was a little higher earlier, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it got closer to 15 cents, but it's at 14, almost 14 and a half cents as of right now. We'll just stick with that. Let's see, Popcat's up today, pretty good, 7.03% to $1.32. Let's see, CRE, I don't even know what this is, but that's up 14.76% to 16 cents, almost 17 cents. Interesting. BitTensor, $578. Toncoin is at $5.27. Let's check out Crypto Bubble, see if anything changed. Biggest earner of the day seems to be DYDX now over here. This is $1.22, up 19.4%. ApeCoin is up 12.6%. If anybody has this, this is at a $1.2 billion market cap. We got $1.59. Interesting. If anybody has that, let me know in the chat. Atom up 9% today to $4.89. Yeah, nothing else really too crazy. Flashbang, we got the Fear and Greed Index over here at a 72. It was 73 yesterday. I wanted to stay under 75, hopefully before, like, up until the election. That would be nice, and then we could have a blast off. But anything above 75 is when I start getting nervous, because things usually start pulling back pretty heavily. But guys, that's it. That's gonna do it. It's Monday. Time to get to work. I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, you guys have a great day. I gotta get back to daddy duty. Peace out. Have a good one. Panda, have a safe flight home, buddy. And don't forget,
if she don't hawk to her, we don't talk to her.
Perfect.